The blessing project starts with you creating a budget to track your blessings. But at this point, we're going to discuss something outside of the regular budget. You remember that we said that you budget based on 80% of your take-home after-tax pay. Well, what about the other 20%? Right now, we're going to look at half of that, 10% of your income. The Lord has given us instruction that we should understand that all of our increase comes from Him. He actually owns everything that we possess. To keep this concept always before His people, the Lord has instructed them to faithfully return a tithe, which just means 10% of their increase to Him. We find this instruction in Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 30. And all the tithe of the land, whether the seed of the land or the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. It is holy unto the Lord. So whatever we increase, we should understand that all of it belongs to God, but a portion of it we're to return to Him of our increase. According to Deuteronomy 14:24, the reason for the tithe was to ensure that His people would remember to put Him first in all things. Then, before we can speak about our personal finances, we need to acknowledge that everything is His. This tithe, then, is to be dedicated to the proclamation of the gospel. For this reason, we're instructed to bring our tithe to God's storehouse, His church. And in fact, a failure to return the tithe is considered by God to be theft. I want us to read Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, because the Lord gives very specific instructions here in Malachi chapter 3 that we need to consider, because a failure to return this is actually considered theft. Let's read these verses. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Do you understand what the Lord is saying here? He's saying that if you do not return the tithe, you are stealing from Him. But He says, look, I understand it's not in your human nature to do this. You want to take things for yourself and not acknowledge that everything is actually mine. But the blessing project understands that everything belongs to the Lord. This is just a return to Him. And so the Lord says, accept my plan, and you will be surprised just how many blessings I will bless you with. Your tithe will then be used to bless others with the gospel. They too will have a knowledge of the blessing project. Their heart will be united with His heart. Their will be merged in His will. Their mind will become one with His mind. They will live His life. In turn, they will bless others. And your gift will multiply exponentially those who receive the blessings of God in this life right now. Now, let's be clear. While the Lord asks us to return a faithful tithe, that doesn't mean He will automatically send us blessings for this alone. He has principles for the other 90% that we'll study as the series go on. But all of these begin with a faithful return of the tithe to the Lord. And as we continue to return to the Lord a portion of our increase for the proclamation of the gospel, we ourselves are blessed even more. Proverbs 3, 9, 10 states that we should honor the Lord with our substance, with the firstfruits of all of our increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine.